Fujifilm XT4, a perfect camera for the hybrid shooter. It is affordable, has great color science and can shoot up to 240 frames per second. But it is an APS-C camera, which means that to get that creamy look that you often see in full-frame cameras, you need a lens that can go quite low in aperture, and I feel that the Fuji system is lacking a bit when it comes to lenses for use in video. I have been using the Fuji 16-55mm f2.8 as my main lens, and although it is a great lens, I was missing a good all-round lens that could let in more light and create a greater separation between an object and its background, and I may have found the best solution for it. The Sigma 18-35mm f1.8 Art. This lens has an aperture of 1.8, which means better performance in low light situations and the possibility to create a soft and blurry background. It can focus as close as 10 cm, which really makes the object stand out. This is a fun lens to play around with, and I really love the look it creates. This lens does not come with an X mount, so the most common option when using this on the Fuji system is to buy the Canon EF version, and then use an adapter. The best option I know of based off the research I did on this setup is the Fringer EF to FX mount Pro 2. This adapter works great and also allows you to use the autofocus in the camera. The main reason why I chose this lens over the 16-55 Fuji is the bokeh it creates and the low light performance. So let's view some footage so that you can know what to expect from this lens.
There's a lot of colors lost within a haze. Don't rely on others to get you through the maze. The dreams are not the same for me. Standing by the shore while you're on the open sea, cannot take this anymore.
To do a short comparison with my 16-55mm Fuji, you can see that I am able to push the boundaries a bit more in low light with the Sigma. You are also able to create a better separation between the object and its background. Now that we have looked at how the image looks, let's review a couple of pros and cons with the Sigma lens that you need to be aware of. It does not extend its barrel while zooming. It zooms within the lens, meaning that you don't need to rebalance if you are working with a gimbal or glide cam. Although you need to buy both a lens and an adapter, the setup is actually cheaper than the Fuji 16-55. And lastly, you now have the option to use lenses with EF mount and can work with a bigger variety of lenses if you wish. The autofocus makes a bit of noise. This is something you have to be aware of if you're shooting in continuous autofocus.
Are you recording audio externally or are you using a low mic when talking, you will be good.
But are you using an external microphone on top of the body or the in-body microphone? This noise can be picked up, especially in a quiet environment.
If you do most of your shooting in manual mode, you are also good, of course, and I must mention that the focusing ring feels incredibly good. It's actually a lot easier to work with than, for example, the 16-55, so that's a big pros again. There is no IBIS in the lens. Not much more to say about that. The XT4 have decent IBIS in the body though, so not really a big problem in my opinion. The last thing to mention is its weight and size. Well, this can be categorized in the pros as well, depending on the eyes who sees. Having a heavier setup often makes it easier to get smoother footage handheld, but at the same time it takes up a lot more space and is heavier to carry around. I really think that this is a great all-around lens for all Fuji X-series cameras. This lens is for the person who likes to experiment with the depth of field, that is drawn to the creamy look of full-frame cameras and don't rely too heavily on the autofocus. With that, I hope you found this helpful and I will see you in the next.